My name is Peter. I'm originally from Belgium, but I've been kind of settled down in Chennai for the last 15 years. So in this presentation, I want to bring you kind of the journey which has happened in the last 5 years of a group called the Chennai Trekking Club. I don't know how many people in the audience are familiar with CTC or Chennai Trekking Club. Not too many, I see a few fingers. So I just want to walk through the journey, which started 5 years ago and which has grown quite big. At this moment, we have more than 20,000 people in this group. And we are not just focused on trekking. There are a lot of interesting things happening in this volunteer-based non-profit organization. So let me start with a small background on myself. So some 4 decades ago, in 1972, one little white boy was having a nice time in the backyard of his parents. He was always like an outdoor type of person. He used to play soccer, cycle, swim. Used to dig tunnels under the ground in my parents' yard, camp outside, build houses in trees. Always kind of attracted by nature and kind of interested in sports and adventure. If you fast forward 2 decades, then I was riding on my bike in Ladakh. So in 98, 15 years back, I came to Chennai. I was basically sent by my company in Belgium, multinational, to kind of start up a small software group in Chennai. We were not able to find IT resources at that time in Europe. And very soon I was very impressed, very attracted by the natural beauty of the Indian subcontinent. So whether it's the Western Ghats in Kerala, the Himalayas in north, the tropical beaches of Goa, some of the beautiful plains in Tamil Nadu. So I was very strongly attracted to take my bike and go exploring. Used to be weekend after weekend that I used to take my bullets, go to Central Station in Chennai, pack up the bike, take an overnight train to Kerala, get off, say, at Kottayam, start biking to Idukki, Munnar, Tekadi, Chalakudi, Valparai, back on Sunday night in Coimbatore, back on in office then on Monday morning. So like that it used to go every weekend. I used to spend, I think I completed some 50,000 kilometers on my bikes. Went 4 times to the Himalayas, where I used to do the Manali Leh, the Spiti Valley. So I was really attracted and very passionate about finding remote, beautiful, natural locations. Recently I did a trip on my cycle actually. The last 2 years I've become very passionate about mountain biking. So I did a 1,000 kilometer cycle ride from Shimla through the Spiti Valley all the way to Leh Ladakh, crossing 4 landslides on my cycle. So, lots of beautiful places are there in it. So initially, I was exploring on the bike, and again, almost a decade later then, in 2007, I started going out with some friends from my office. So some 10, 20 people, we got together every month, and we used to go to various places for hiking, trekking. So we dropped the bike and we started going deeper inside forests, in jungles, in mountains. We used to go to the other railway track in Shaklaspur. Used to go here very close to Vellore. You have the Javadu Hills, like a a tribal hill range, pretty big and beautiful valleys also there. Used to go to places like the Tala waterfalls near Chennai and all kinds of known little places where there used to be some hill which we could climb or some forest to explore, fully packed with backpacks, tents, fully self-supported, carrying the food, carrying the camping gears. So that happened for 1 or 2 years. After that, I wanted to explore more frequently, see more places, got familiar with map reading, so I could go to any place without even less known places, non-touristical places. And the problem was I was not able to find enough company. People in my office, they either got married, they got busy with work, they got busy with personal things, they got relocated to other places. So very soon I wanted to connect with other people out there. So what I did is I set up a website, called it the Chennai Trekking Club. So that was in February 2008. Some pictures, published the experiences of the 10 trips we had completed together. And at the bottom of the website, I just put a link like anyone interested to join me, please sign up here, put your email ID, we'll keep you in the loop on what's coming up in terms of treks. So that seemed to work very well. I think with the help of Google search and publishing a lot of nice looking pictures of beautiful locations online. Very soon we were going out with like sizable groups, 20, 30 people, almost on a weekly basis. So this just happened only 2 months after setting up this website. So that was a few months later after setting up the group. And then, so here you can see pictures from the top of the water, Tada Waterfall. Tada is kind of a well-known outdoor spot to people from Chennai. So then actually it kind of went exponentially in the last five and a half years. We actually grew to more than 20,000 people. So looking back at that growth, we'll go a little bit more in detail in the next couple of slides. But looking at what are the key aspects, what were the reasons behind this phenomenal growth of this group, I think there are a couple of things. First of all, Chennai at that time, 97, 98, was still a bit kind of traditional. Not too many people were into adventure or outdoors. There was a large IT population starting at that time, right? A lot of youngsters who were sitting like 5 days behind the computer and who really want to get out, do something else out of the city in the weekend. A lot of beautiful localities are there. You might not be aware. You might think Bangalore, for example, is in a much better location, closer to the Western Ghats than Chennai, but you would be surprised to see how many beautiful places are there in the Eastern Ghats, like pretty close, within a 3-4 hour radius from Chennai. So a lot of beautiful places nearby. We were very consistent initially. It was pretty tough for me to combine my work in CISCO as a project manager with this kind of weekend hobby of going out on like a regular basis, identifying new trails every single weekend, and managing 20 people. You're not going along. You have to assemble 20 people, get food, manage accounts and everything. So that took a little bit of time initially. But it was very important that we had like a consistency. Every single weekend, people could trust that in this group something would happen. We would go to some place somewhere in South India. And then, of course, it was an open group. There were no criteria. There's no fee. It's a free, non-profit group. Nobody makes money. We just go out together with 20 people, share the cost equally of the fuel, the transportation, the food. So, kind of, it was really for the passion of trekking, not to make money out of it. It's a volunteer-based group. I think that's something very important. So, if you start something, it's very important to involve people rather than one organizer takes care of everything and the other guys are just kind of tourists or people who join like a travel company. We try to involve everyone in kind of the trek event, right? Some people take care of accounts, some people take care of transportation, food, some people will set up the camp, some people will go fetch drinking water, some people make campfire, etc. So for all 20, 30 people in your group, you typically can find some kind of responsibility to involve and to give a little bit of ownership to everyone in the outdoor trek so that everyone kind of feels kind of involved. I think that was a very important aspect of it. Then membership based, so it's basically an online Google group and a mailing list, which again is very important. 90% of the group are not very active. I think we only have some 2,000-3,000 people at any moment of time which are really active, like say do a trek every, some cycle trip or whatever every kind of month. So, but the membership-based thing worked very well in the sense that you could keep giving weekly updates. You could share photos, trek experience of first timers with all the 20,000 members. So everyone actually kind of gets an ongoing email stream of all the things which are happening, the locations where you go. And that keeps people very excited. Even people which are members for 1 year but have never joined on any trek, they kind of feel proud to be part of the group and they know completely what's going on. And then, of course, Facebook, which then started a couple of years later, has helped us a lot to reach out by sharing photos, tagging people, and etc. And then definitely Google. Google was one important company that helped us a lot in terms of Google Maps around 2007, 2008. That's the time when Google Maps came up. Not the route, I mean the city maps, not the satellite maps, but the terrain maps. Terrain maps are basically topographic maps that allow you to kind of understand the terrain of like any place in the world. So with Google Maps, you're able to kind of identify new places on an ongoing basis for trekking. Google Groups to create our group. Google Search was the one who was allowing people to find us. Blogger was important to set up a blog where you could share experiences on a weekly basis, right? Show the photos, especially let first time joiners kind of give their thoughts, their experiences and publish it. And Facebook, because they were uploading photos, and then Google Docs, was another wonderful tool for us to send invitations to the group, allow people to sign up, manage accounts and everything. So completely set of free tools which we could use to run the group, given the fact that we're a non-profit and we didn't have any funds to buy any tools to run this online organization. So another important thing, as I mentioned, is Google terrain maps, right? So with those maps, you really had a very clear idea of mountains, of valleys. Typically when you do a trek in like a mountainous terrain, you cannot follow a straight line. You'll typically have to identify either valleys or ridges to kind of make your journey from one side of the mountain range to the other side of the forest. So Google terrain maps, combined with these, little, outdoor, GPS devices were like a wonderful combination for us to kind of go anywhere we wanted. The world was our home. There was no restriction in, identifying new places, every time. So that was the initial thing. So kind of regular treks, many people, within 1 year, I think we had 2,000 members. So we were kind of building up momentum. And then in the next couple of slides, I will show you some of the things which happened on kind of quite spontaneously, naturally. So one of the things we started doing is, as we went out to nature, to nice places, we came in touch with a lot of beauty, like, wildlife, and stuff. So we started organizing workshops on a regular basis. We had workshops on snakes, on butterflies, first aid workshops, photography workshops, maps and navigation workshops to kind of spread knowledge, again, free of cost to everyone who was interested and share the knowledge of some of the experts in the group. This is typically how my living room looked at home whenever we invited some people to give it. Another thing which happened very naturally, nothing of this was planned. Sometime in, this was November 2009, I showed you the location. We used to trek a lot in Tala Waterfalls because it's conveniently close to Chennai. So one thing we noticed there is that that place was a bit more known, a bit easily accessible to public. So what typically happens, as you know, in India with tourist locations is that the place quickly gets affected by garbage, pollution, plastics. In this place also we had like youngsters coming to drink, antisocial activities, breaking bottles in a stream. So they were actually kind of raping nature in that place. So in November 2009, we kind of decided to put like a small team of volunteers together. Some 150 people turned up that time and kind of organize a full cleanup of this location. So at that time, we were able to collect some 500 garbage bags, some 2 tons of garbage, a lot of broken bottles and plastics, and kind of restore the place to its natural beauty. So that was the initial idea. After that, kind of we continued with this on a regular basis. So this went on for like almost every year. We also started doing cleanups of the Chennai beaches. And then last year, it has grown quite big. In last June, we kind of cleaned up the entire Chennai coastal line. So this was from people who are familiar with Chennai, from Marina Beach all the way to Injambakam, which is like almost 20 kilometers of beaches. With 5,500 people, we cleaned some 40 tons of garbage. This was also, I mean, the main thing is that we wanted to create awareness. Whenever we clean a beach, we know that next weekend it's again going to be a little dirty. But the main thing here is to create awareness and to involve a lot of corporates, NGOs, schools. So here you can see the lineup of all the other groups that joined us. Almost every big IT company was sending a group of corporates along with us. So this was quite, I mean, a successful event. The Hindu also this year organized the event with our Chennai Trekking Club. Here you can kind of see the materials we collected on the beach. One nice thing this year was that we segregated, instead of kind of moving all the garbage which we collect to the Velachery dump yard, dumping all the garbage, basically moving it. We kind of try to recycle as much as possible. So we segregated between thin plastics, thick plastics, which have to be recycled differently, and glasses, which also are kind of following a different recycling. So around 30% of the materials we collected, we were able to recycle, like thin plastics they use for laying roads. So that kind of reduced the output of the cleanup operation. Another thing which again happened like almost incidental or very spontaneously is somewhere in January 2009, one of the people who came frequently along with us on treks was running a small orphanage in their home, like a small Christian orphanage, 20 girls between 5 to 9 years old. So we are thinking like, okay, we go on these weekly treks, why don't we also kind of do something for the less privileged? So after that, kind of on a monthly basis, we started doing what we call social treks. Social treks is something where you take some 20, 30 adults, kind of volunteers, who will kind of organize the trek. They will go to an orphanage, typically inside or close to the city, and they will pick up the kids there, some 20, 30 kids, same amount of kids, and they will kind of sponsor the entire day, like food, transportation, and show the kids like a wonderful time in the same places where we go. So the kids can play in the water, have a wonderful time, full day, cook something together, play together. So kind of take them out of the boundaries of their home where they normally get very few opportunities to get out from. So, and then more recently, in recent years, we also, this is also a bit, related to awareness. Environmental conservation was there, social initiatives. One other thing we got very passionate about was sports. Sports in the context of like a more active, healthy lifestyle, which you can do through either outdoors. Outdoors, you typically have to go further away from the city. You need to do an overnight camping. So sports makes it easier. You can actually bring it inside the city. So we started running, we started cycling, we started doing these kind of triathlons where we combine the three together to get everyone kind of more into these kind of sports activities. So tomorrow we are organizing our second, what we call the Chennai Trail Marathon. So this is basically like a regular marathon, which is happening on a frequent basis all over South India, almost every weekend, especially in the winter months. Bangalore, Hyderabad, Delhi, Chennai. Again, as a part of a kind of our ongoing drive to spread more awareness onto active and healthier lifestyle, rather than a static lifestyle, which many of us are kind of become victims of because of the modern way of living. So that's it basically. Thank you.